Have you ever peeled an onion? It's unending, right? And keeps getting smaller. That's all true, and that's exactly what a structure should be. Pieces put together. We all love a good and interesting story when we read one. So, what makes these stories appealing? It's the structure and how organized the story is put together. Let's take a look. The structure of any story must follow these: the introduction, the body paragraphs, and the conclusion. The introduction is your first layer, like the onion. This is what your reader reads first. So, it has to be pretty impressive. How do you have a compelling introduction? It consists of the hook, line, and sinker, background information, and what I call close-up. First, the introduction. The introduction is the beginning of your writing. You introduce the essay depending on what you are writing about. These contains the hook, line, and sinker, background information, and close-up. This is the main idea, and it is drawn from your topic. The hook, line, and sinker is that opening sentence that captivates your reader like a bait placed on a hook and thrown into the sea to catch a fish. The fish is totally lured by the sight of the bait without knowing it is a trick. So your opening sentence must have that same effect to capture your reader's attention before they even realize it. Then, the background information is a sentence or a couple of sentences that give the reader some insight into the topic. Let's say you're writing about New Yam Festival. A background information would be something like, the New Yam Festival is a festival that marks the beginning and end of a farming season in African communities. That is an example of a background information. And finally, the close-up is the sentence that draws your reader back to the main idea. This is where you close the paragraph. We call this thesis. This is largely dependent on what you are writing about. Let's go to the body paragraphs. This is where your details come in. You should have at least 3 paragraphs. Each of your paragraphs contain these: a topic sentence where you itemize one idea that further explains your thesis, which is the topic. Supporting sentences. These sentences explain the points you identified in your topic sentence. And the concluding sentence is where it all comes to an end. You must end remarkably. For example, the New Yam Festival will forever be remembered and celebrated as a deep cultural heritage of the African people. Remember, you must have at least 3 body paragraphs in your essay. The conclusion is the last draw of the straw, so it must be as good as the beginning of your story. Your story comes to an end here. Remember, your story structure starts with an introduction, continues with the body paragraph, and ends with the conclusion. So don't forget to write compelling stories from today by following this structure: the introduction, the body paragraphs, and conclusion. See you in our next lesson.